Welcome back, everybody. This is another edition of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast, live edition. And I am going to make sure that every single thing is working the way it's supposed to. When you come in, say hello. Let me know that you're here from the replay. Let me know where you're from. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you for taking the time out. We got a good topic today. So give me about 15 seconds. I'll be right back, and I'll see you on the other side.
This one for the streets that taught me lessons. They taught me about the grief, and people out here stressing. They taught me how the evils wanna keep you from progressing. It's people in your circle wanna keep you from your blessing. No talking to them people when them people come with questions. This mama say no fretting, for them death is destined. Be careful of the people you invest in.
All right, we are back. We are back. Again, I say welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Derek Jones, and I am your host. And the way that we do these shows, I normally would do a what I call a card logic demonstration where I do like a visual representation. We're not going to do that tonight. We're just going to dive right in. So the way that this works, if this is your first time here, I'm going to pause for a few seconds because we're going to do a live recording of a podcast. We're going to get into the podcast, and at the end, I'm going to pause again for a few seconds, and then we can have a kind of pseudo discussion afterwards. Tonight, depending on your engagement, I may include your comments in the podcast, depending on what they are, because some people, y'all have some crazy things y'all want to discuss. But we're going to keep it on topic tonight. And tonight's topic is about, are men intimidated by your success, ladies? We're going to get into that real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to get right into the podcast portion. I'm not going to waste you guys' time. We're not going to be here long. So just making sure my Periscope folks are there and we good. So let's get into this, guys. So give me like 2-3 seconds and we're going to start the podcast. And welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones and I am your host. I'm a life coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And tonight, we have an extra special topic. The topic is, ladies, are men intimidated by your success? So this topic right here, this is a topic. It's not a new one, but it's an impactful one, especially especially now in this day and age. We're going to talk about the who, the what, the why, and all of that tonight. I normally would give you categories, but I'm going to give you some different categories, but I'm not going to number them tonight. So we're just going to get into it. Feel free to engage. Leave me a comment or a question, because I am live, and I may add it as a part of the show. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with talking about the current climate right now, as far as like where we are as men and women, as far as, success. And success can mean a lot of things, right? Primarily, we talk about money, like the woman making more money than the man and vice versa. But the current climate that we're in right now is women are doing the damn thing, right? Sometimes by, different goals they want to make, and sometimes by necessity and survival. And the makeup of our households are different than they were a couple generations ago. So, you have a lot of women that are, single moms now, right? And I looked at a few statistics, and I think one of them said something about, like 40% of households with kids under the age of 18 the woman is the breadwinner. Now that accounts for, people that are in, marriages, and it also accounts for women that are, single moms. So at the end of the day, that's a big percentage if you think about it, right? And this kind of shifts the traditional norms that we're used to. And when we're out here on this dating scene, it makes things a little more difficult if you wanted to maintain those traditional lines of finance and, the man making more and being the breadwinner and bringing home the bacon and all of that, right? Things are different now. And it's a good time. But for a lot of people out here, we're talking about men that can't handle it. Unfortunately, I got to say, you're going to have to get over yourself, or you're going to have to find and hunt for that type of woman, because the women are not going to stop doing what they got to do to survive and do what they got to do. And we also, people are waiting longer to have kids now. People are focusing on their careers. People are waiting longer to get married. They want to make sure that they got everything intact. And it's not just men doing that, it's women doing that. So now when you're looking at success, they keeping up, they keeping up par. They may not necessarily make as much. They may not have the same opportunities, but they're handling business. And so when you're talking about head of household and breadwinners, it's a whole different topic. It's a whole different conversation now. So you got to really, 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 like, if we're going to talk about the emotional and the mental things that these type of men go through that are, I don't like using the word intimidated. We're going to talk about some better words to use. Sometimes there are some that are intimidated, but there's different levels to this, right? There's levels to this, guys. So when you look at that many women, we're talking about the United States, because I can't speak about any other country. When you're talking about 40% breadwinners, women are 47% of the workforce. So that's almost like half. So if you're out here as a guy and you're dating, and let's not even talk about the number skews even more when you're talking about African Americans, right? So you really, as a man, like I said before, and I'm gonna say probably a couple more times, you're gonna have to get over it because the winds are shifting, and you're gonna have to choose that love that you're looking for, and that money. If you're in a good situation, that money's in the pot, right? This money's in the same pot, so stop worrying about that. So let's talk about traditional gender roles a little bit. Generations before us, the man was the breadwinner, made the most money. The woman might have been a stay-at-home mom, right? The woman might have had a job. And we had to take into account society, in the job market wasn't that kind to women, right? So naturally, because of the system, women weren't going to make as much. They still don't, right? But when you look at those gender roles, not just financially, but mentally, right? Mentally, if you take a man that was born and raised to understand that he is supposed to be the breadwinner, and then he meets a woman that makes more than him, it's going to skew his psyche a little bit, right? It's going to make him feel a way, possibly, because that's not what he was taught. That's not what he saw. That's not what he was trained. And so he may feel a way because the traditional roles aren't being met. And now he may feel, a way. And so when you take into account that society is changing, it doesn't mean the man can't be the head of the household. He just may not be making as much money. Boo-hoo, right? I was never that guy. So that's why I'm going to kind of skew. I'm a little biased to a certain extent. Like, I really want to impress upon you that the men, the 2020 men, a lot of us at a certain age, we still have those traditional ways about us. But this is not our grandparents and our great grandparents' society anymore, and we got to grow up a little bit, right? So the next thing I'm gonna talk about is just that, and we'll call them the insecurities and the shame that some men have when they are in a situation or they meet a woman that makes more money than them, right? And a lot of times we'll hear women say, "You can't handle a strong woman like me. I'm independent. That's why you can't handle it," and da-da-da-da-da, and all of that, right? And the man is like, as naturally, men will be like, "No, I'm not intimidated by you." But at the same time, there's a population of men out there that are a little insecure when it comes to that. And the reason why that is because a lot of us, a very large population of men, like to feel necessary. I'm going to say that again. A lot of us men like to feel necessary, aka needed. And when you flaunt all of that and you tell me how much you don't need me, then I'm not going to see my place visually in my mind, because we're not together yet. I don't see me being a contributor because, a lot of men are money focused. So if you're telling me that I can't financially take care of you, this is the psyche, right? Then there may come a time where you feel like you don't need me and I'm not necessary in your life, right? Sounds kind of sad, right? And sometimes there's a little bit of shame that comes. Like, I really had a goal and I didn't meet it. And, it's almost kind of like our competitive nature, right? She got there before I did. Damn it. Right? And when you feel so insecure, and I'm going to use a term, it may even exist somewhere in the universe or the internet verse, but I call it self-emasculation, right? You can have a woman emasculate a man, and sometimes a man can have things in his mind swirling around it that allows him to emasculate himself. And it makes you feel less of a man because you think that she's going to leave one day because she has more stuff and she got it together and you might not have it together and you're working on it. And in my travels, in my young time on this planet, I've run into, quite a few women that made more than me. Didn't really bother me because that's just, I never had that chip in me. But what they would say on the other side of it, and, as the life coach, I hear these conversations all the time. They would say, I wasn't even tripping off of the fact that he wasn't making more than me. I just wanted a companion. I wanted somebody to love me and to care for me in that way. While the man is thinking, I don't have enough money. How I'm going to take care of her? She might not need me. She may find a guy that has more than me and leave, right? This is those little, the overthinking that I always talk about, that it's like you're making up conspiracy theories in your mind that don't even exist, right? A lot of times. Now, let's clarify. There are some women that will, let me finish this because that's the next topic. Because, we're going to talk about y'all. There's some women out here that wear that on their chest like a superhero. So you have to take into account when you automatically, as a woman, dismiss a guy as being intimidated by your strength and your success, it may not necessarily be that. He may not feel like he can be a contributor to your life. And that's a big deal when you've only been taught and you've only kind of, been around male dominant, financial, take care of the home, and that's all you're going to feel away. Even if you feel like you a strong man, sometimes you feel away. Like I got to wait until I get to a certain place before I can even be, so I can feel comfortable in that person's life. And a lot of times people don't look at that side because I'm always the emotion hacker, right? We can talk about things you do and the reactions you do, but we never talk about the emotions that go along with it. So I always try to focus on that part because this is a piece that a lot of people don't ever talk about. When you have a man that feels that way, it has nothing to do with how weak or strong he is. He just has in his mind that there should be a traditional role and it's just not being fit. Now you could say, well, that thinking is old school and this is 2020 and things are different. But when you take someone who's only been shown that and who's only been taught that, it's hard to unlearn something that you've been riding on since you were a kid and you might be 50 now. You can't untrain yourself to do that. I mean, you could, right? But there's a lot of men that they're very staunch on that, and they will live and die on those rules. And maybe that might not be the guy for you, right? Because you can't make somebody do something they don't want to do, right? So the next category, this the fun part right here. Women that wear their resumes on their chest like a superhero, and they gotta let everybody know their accomplishments. I don't need you because I got my own car. I got my own house. I got my own money. And I used to hear this so much when I was out there dating many, many moons ago. And, I used to tell them, tongue in cheek, you know what I used to tell a woman that was like, I got my own car in my own place. I was like, welcome to being a grown up. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. I don't like that. Okay. But we know that comes from a place, right? Women have had a hard time. Women have had to prove themselves in a male dominated world. So you're proud of your accomplishments. But in the dating world, when you shove it down my throat and you're aggressive with it, and you're just like, I don't need nobody. I got it. I got my own stuff. And I'm like, oh, hold on. That energy different. Like, I don't need, that's not, stop. And then if I decide not to deal with that, then you say, he can't deal with a strong woman. Oh yeah, it comes from a place, guys. And I know a lot of women who do that today. They're going to tell you what degree they have and off the bat. I got my own stuff. I don't really need nobody to help me, but let's go out and have fun. Let's have a moment of silence. I understand why you do it. Some of you ladies, right? I'm not going to say all because I don't want nobody coming for me. I understand why you do it, but is it necessary? Got to ask yourself that question. And if you want a man that's going to, be the male figure in your household one day and lead your household, if you're that type of woman that wants that type of guy, how you think you're going to make him feel when you telling him you don't need him all the time? And you got to think about that. Nobody's saying diminish what you've done, but you don't have to keep rubbing it in his face all the time and letting him know how not good enough he is. Even if that's not your intention. A lot of women that say that, it wasn't my intention. It still translates that way. And it's not necessary if you're just trying to go out on a date and have fun and build the chemistry and the emotions and everything else that comes along with liking somebody. We get it. And so a lot of times we're going to talk about some of the funnier pieces to this, because I heard some stuff this past week online and I was just like, wow, like women are really doing the most in order to just have a guy based on social status and money, right? So the next thing I want to talk about is classism. Sometimes when you have a lot and you meet somebody who's used to not having a lot, like let's say someone grew up in a disadvantaged neighborhood and you worked your way out of the neighborhood and you got your stuff together. And when you come into a situation where you're meeting a man that may not even understand what it means like to live in that world, he's going to probably, a lot of times they feel away. They feel like, wow, I really can't do nothing for her. That may not be your motive, ladies, but you got to understand the psychology and the psyche and the emotion that goes along with that. A person like that, every single day, they're going to be reminded that they can't take care of you in that way. And I saw some things online where women were like, suggesting restaurants to go to, and the man who may not have had it kind of felt like, I really can't afford that place. Like, I really can't do that, and I feel inadequate. And the woman is just like, I'm used to nice restaurants, so I don't know why he's tripping. You got to think about the psychology behind it. And it doesn't mean he can't handle you or he's intimidated by you. He's just ashamed. I don't excuse anybody's behavior. I'm not playing either side on this one. But you got to think about it a little bit before you dismiss this person as not being able to handle you. I wish we could strike that statement out of our vocabulary, but we can't, because I know we're going to probably hear it to the end of time. You can't handle me because I'm independent and all that. I get it. So when you're dealing with, because a lot of times this is what happens, right? And it's the way that we are. A lot of times, a lot of women who are very successful, a lot of times they aren't attractive to the guy that's in their office that's at the same level, doing the same types of things, or even in an industry that's similar or that makes the same amount of money. Sometimes they'll go and deal with someone who doesn't make as much money because they feel like, they want to kind of, I'm trying to choose my words wisely. They think it might be a little more exciting. And when you deal with that guy that may not be making as much as you or doesn't have the social status, and you think it's fun, the whole time that guy is like, I hope I can keep up with this. And you having fun, but you're not realizing what's going on inside his head the whole time. And so think about that before you dismiss people. Those type of women, not all of you. So now we're going to get to another one, right? This one of the last ones. What I also saw and heard and throughout my travels in life, and also on just looking at stuff online, there's a lot of women out here that are not even telling men what they do for fear that man won't engage them, because that industry notably makes, decent amounts of money. So I saw this one lady said she tells guys that she works at McDonald's just to see if they're, willing to talk to her, because if she told them that she was a RN, then normally in her experience, every guy ends up not wanting to talk to her because of everything she has. And I was like, there's guys out here like that. I don't know, maybe I'm different, and I believe in traditional gender roles, right? But when it comes to money, let's just go. Like, let's put it in the pot, mix it up, and let's do the damn together. Like, let's be a team and handle it. But, there's a couple different sides to this coin, right? You have couples that mix it up in the pot and everything's cool. You also have couples where that woman makes more money. She's not going to let you touch it. And you could be her husband. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that comes from a place. They might not let you touch it. And how do you think that makes, your equal supposed partner feel, right? And then, of course, there's a situation where the man runs away because he's like, there's no way I can deal with this. And like I said, going back to the insecurities, because men tend to be extremely territorial. What if somebody else has more money than me? What is she going to do if she likes him and not me, right? It's that little thing that be clicking in your mind. And you're like, I don't even know if I can do this. Or, she takes you to her house for the first time and you're like, dang, I didn't know you was living like this. And in the back of his mind, he's like, I don't know if I can keep up with this. There's men out there like that. I know you ladies have met him. And you're thinking he can't handle it. And a lot of times, they can't. But a lot of times it's those insecurities, and it's the I want to be the breadwinner and I'm going to keep working hard, and maybe one day I will be. But right now, this is a lot. And you women that are hiding your accomplishments, stop doing that. Just be you. And the man that's supposed to be with you, he will love whatever it is that comes along with you. You telling people you work at McDonald's, that's starting off with a lie. Like, stop it. If you a nurse, be proud of that. Now, the one note I will make on this is, if you date 10 men and 10 men can't handle it, you fishing in the wrong pond. Stop doing that. It's time to change. Your picker is off. It's time to move and go somewhere else and try to pick from another pile, because we a lot. I'm saying we like I'm single. A lot of men are not like that, and they ready for you. You just fishing in the wrong pond. And you could say, well, every guy I've met, they been acting like that. You just proved my point. So just think about that. Everybody ain't scared of you. You might be fishing in the wrong pond. And you got to think about how your behavior about what you do affects others. Are you really aggressive with telling people that you don't need nobody? But at home, you in the closet talking about, I really wish I had somebody. Stop doing that. And I'm trying to think like you guys. I use the word need loosely, okay? Because I know I don't need anybody. You want it though, a little bit. Some of you want it and you like, I don't need nobody. You putting that energy in the universe. And then when you find somebody and you're telling them you don't need anybody and then they disappeared and you're like, why? It's because you keep talking about it. I keep telling you, energy is everything. And there's so many people out here that got something. Women have something to prove. I got you, right? Prove it. But don't smush it in everybody's face to the point where they get sick. Because you're going to end up dealing with the same type of people. Or you're going to meet the right person and you're going to scare them off because you're so aggressive and abrasive with it. Right? They done made all these songs. I'm independent. I don't need nobody. I make my own money. I'm going to do what I want to do and all of that. But you want to be a wife. You don't have to shout it from the rooftops because you got hurt by somebody. You need to prove it. Or I don't even know what the motive is for you to get the megaphone out and yell it to the world. I get it. But I don't get it at the same time. So think about that, right? I don't excuse the behavior. I don't excuse the behavior or condone the behavior or whatever on either side of this coin. But we got to get back to respecting each other, loving each other, connecting with each other, and all that good stuff, and being happy and doing what we got to do. All of this, we're on opposite. Like it's almost like we two gangs, the men gang versus the women gang. And I'm gonna tell you how much I got, and I'm gonna tell you what I can do, and we're gonna see if you can handle me and all that. I'll stop. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave y'all with that. I appreciate you guys for tuning in once again, and I will see you next time. And you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Good night. All right, I am back. If you're still here, I see Michelle Ford, Natasha Davenport, and anybody else that's on here. I see you guys peeking and lurking. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, got some value out of it. It's a very big topic. You hear people talk about it a lot, but they really don't understand the why, right? And you automatically assume that, somebody can't handle you. So take that with you. Share this with your friends and family. Somebody you think needs to hear that. It's that woman that that's been hurt, or she got something and she's got to tell the world that she don't need anybody. And she really want to be with somebody. Send her this video clip. We're going to have other shows about men. I don't want you to think this is, how men feel about certain things or whatever. Everybody's going to get it, right? Because we all got things we can work on, right? I'm not saying that you're wrong for doing this. I'm saying, do you? If you feel like you need to do that, cool. But also realize how it affects somebody and what the repercussions of that is. That's all I'm saying. So I want y'all to have a good night. Let me put up the podcast information so you guys will know where to find the audio version of this. Listen to it in your car, on your headphones and all that. You can go virtually anywhere, even SoundCloud now, and just search for Relationship Gumbo. You can even do it on Alexa. You can say, Alexa, play podcast Relationship Gumbo, and bam, it comes right up. So share this with your folks. Once again, I appreciate you, and have a great night. Uh-oh. There we go.
This one for the streets that taught me lessons. They taught me about the grief and people out here stressing. They taught me how the evils wanna keep you from progressing. It's people in your circle wanna keep you from your blessing. No talking to them people when them people come with questions. This mama say no fretting. For them, death is destined. Be careful of the people you invest in.